Welcome in, everybody. This is Htown Wheelhouse. I've been out of the seat for a few moments, but I'm going solo tonight on this Locked On Solo edition of Locked On Astros. We're going to be talking about the Houston Astros Christmas wish list, their holiday wish list. What do we think they need? And, of course, some more Carlos Correa chatter. It starts now, boys and girls. Let's have fun.
Welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett Htown Wheelhouse Chansey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we are your daily Astros podcast. That's right, I'm Htown Wheelhouse. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Htown Wheelhouse. You can find me at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros. And tonight, if you want to look for the show, you can find the show at Locked On Astros on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you get your podcast. Check us out on Apple, Google, Spotify. As well, we want you to make us your first listen. Use the hashtag first listen whenever you subscribe to our show. So tonight, I know there has been some huge news. Well, not huge news. It's been kind of breaking, but it has been bantered about and talked about how Carlos Correa has turned down an offer from the Detroit Tigers that was 10 years, $275 million. And that is a huge sum of money. It's the opposite of what the Astros offered him in a 5 or 6 year deal worth 160 with a higher AAV. And so the conversation continues because now we know that Correa has turned down a 6 year deal for 120, a 5 year deal for 160, a 10 year deal for 275, and Mr. Corona just laid these out, each totaling $20 million, 25, 32, and 27.5 million per year. The Astros are not budging on the 10-year thing. They will not go beyond 6, from what I understand. Carlos Correa does not want to go below 10, but he wants to go above 32. So it just seems that bringing Correa back doesn't seem like it's going to work that well. With that being said, I would like to get your thoughts on this. I know, Mr. Corona, you just gave us the cool stats there. There seems to be a lot of money that he is turning down, banking on a major ball club, giving him major money for 10 years. And I just don't know what teams out there besides the Yankees or the Angels or the Phillies would want to do that. Yes, he does want to beat Francisco Lindor's contract. And so that is one of those things where you scratch your head and you wonder, is it about the money? Is it about the titles? Is it about the money and the titles? I think with Carlos Correa, it's very simple. He has the opportunity to make more money than he's ever made. He has the opportunity to make, I guess, the most money that any position player has ever made in baseball, and he's going to make his mark on the game in that way. I know a lot of people in Houston feel kind of slighted, or they feel that the owner's being cheap. I don't think this owner has been cheap at all, to say the least. And so I say all that to kind of wrap this up, because I don't want to sit on Carlos Correa the whole show, is Carlos Correa is going to do what he's going to do. And we will not know until the ceiling is raised or lowered or stays the same after the CBA is agreed upon and we get past that point. It will be interesting to see where Carlos lands. I don't know that there's a strong possibility that he'll land in Houston, like I've been thinking all along, but who knows? Who would have thought that the Rangers would sign 2 middle infielders to that kind of money? And someone's like, oh, well, the Rangers will probably sign Carlos anyways, just because they've gotten everybody. And yes, some people do call it greed. But I've never been at this level. I've never played baseball at this level, and I can imagine not wanting to maximize my value for the long run, for the long term. And so, anyway, so here's the deal. What I want to talk about tonight is not Carlos Correa the whole show. Is I want to talk about Christmas wish list. And so for those of y'all listening right now, I want you to tell me the maybe free agents or position players that you think that you want the Astros to go out and get. And I can tell you right now, the Astros need some more relief pitching. I like getting Chafin from pulling him into the mix for the Houston Astros, or some other players that are out there that we may could trade for, we may could sign as a free agent. But what do you think our biggest needs are? Let's go with the assumption that Carlos Correa is not here and that they are not going to sign a Trevor Story. Are you okay with the Aledmys Diaz? I think they need a shortstop to fill. I think Andrelton Simmons. They've got a ton of other people out there, and I've laid it out. There's so many mid-level guys out there that play shortstop that could help the Astros defensively in the short term, but to the point to where you are not going to replace Carlos Correa. Yes, Nebel is out there. Oh, you're right. So Nebel got signed. You're right. And Chafin. So I'm still looking over here at I don't even know. We can't look up baseball free agents, can we right now? This is a weird time for us in the off season because it's very hard to see who's out there and who's not. I mean, I guess yes, you can find them. There are big names out there. Everybody talks about Chris Bryant bringing him in. Chris Taylor ended up signing. Um, you know, but you're not going to get a big money guy to replace Carlos Correa. If you're not going to pay Carlos Correa the money, you're not going to pay someone else the money. I just, unless Trevor Story, you get him in on a shortened deal, he has a lot to prove. Chris Bryant would be an option, but how much money does he want? And is he going to play third? Are you going to put Bregman at short? I know Bregman is training like an all-star shortstop, but I don't think you want to put him there if you don't have to, because you've got Pena coming in. Does Chris Bryant come in and play center field? That is always a possibility as well. And so when you look at these, you look at these contracts, you look at these players, Chris Bryant is going to garner a 6-year, $160 million contract. Are you going to pay that much money for him if you're not? Hey, they were willing to give that to Correa, but is Chris Bryant worth that at third base? Chris Bryant's not going to play short. Altuve's not going to play short. He's at second. You can bring up Pena quicker. You can fill the hole with Aledmys Diaz, put Chris Bryant in center field until Jake Myers comes back. But then again, what do you do with Alex Bregman? Alex Bregman, I think, on my Christmas wish list is a relief pitcher, is an Alex Bregman breakout season, a shortstop position where Jeremy Pena ultimately fills the spot by midseason. And my secret wish list, or my ask for Santa this year, is to bring back Forrest Whitley on the mound before the end of the season. And so I really want those things to happen. Now, Jeremy Pena does have a lot to prove. He hasn't done anything in the major leagues. He was injured last year, and you're right. He still has a lot to prove. He may need 200 to 300 more at bats in AAA to kind of shore things up. Rip Griffin of the Rip Griffin Show, which I know they're about to record tonight, would you want Kenley Jansen to add some bullpen help? That would be an interesting. Can you imagine a universe where Kenley Jansen was an Astro and Carlos Correa was a Dodger? God, that just upsets my stomach. That just doesn't sit well with me. At best, he would help, but I just don't see someone like a Kenley Jansen. I mean, all the things that he went through against us and all the crap we put him through. Yeah, a quality arm when he has his stuff together. He's one of the best, but man, he has a shady history. He has a history that's more riddled with giving up big shots than he is shutting people down. Um, Now, there are other people out there, like starters we haven't even talked about. Rodon from the White Sox. Maybe he's too much. You have, you have all these different players. You got this Suzuki guy from overseas. Someone presented to me an Anthony Rizzo proposal, but why would we get Rizzo when we have Yuli Gurriel sitting there? The, you know, Dalscafini is gone. Garcia's gone. Soler, I don't know what's going on with him, but I mean, there are people out there to go get in the free agent market, but how much money do they want to spend? The Astros have a surplus in pitching, and I think you use Jake Odorizzi as a trade piece. But they have to definitely make some moves. Mr. Corona says, I'm going to be honest, I don't see the Astros making more moves. At the most, I see them signing Simmons as a stopgap. Andrelton Simmons makes sense as a stopgap. You lose a lot with the bat, but you still have Jordan, Tucker, Correa. You have all these guys in there. Well, I'm sorry, not Correa. You have Altuve, you have Bregman coming back off a hand injury, and I expect Bregman to do big things. So one of my wish list items is paying attention to this newly invigorated Alex Bregman, where I had kind of heard things here and there that he had kind of lost the eye, that with the money and the fame and all the different things and getting there year after year, that some people that I had talked to said that they had heard that he had kind of lost that fire. But I think with the hand injury and what he went through in the World Series and not being able to deliver because he was injured, lit a fire under him. And that's something that I saw until after the surgery. And he said he's figured things out, kind of like Carlos Correa did. He figured things out. And so on that wish list with Bregman coming back, it's that he finds his health in this lockout, that he works out optimally, that he's flexible, and he's able to move laterally, that the soft tissue issues, as he claims, they are behind him. And so it is one of those things where Alex Bregman, his top priority is to come back 100% healthy and to play out that contract, because that contract after this year goes up to 33 million. And so he's going to be a taxing person on this payroll. With that, you've got coming up in a couple of years, you've got Tucker, you've got Jordan, you've got all these other issues that are going to snowball into other things. But one of the things I want us to get is that we have to go out and get some relief pitching help. We've lost significant pieces in our relief pitching core, and that to me is where we sorely need some help. If we lose Correa, we've got to figure that shortstop position out. Andrelton Simmons can be a gap filler. Jeremy Pena better be as good as advertised. If he's not, you're going to be without Correa. Now, last year we were without Springer. Okay, we did fine, but now you'll be without Springer and Correa. But then you'll have a healthy Bregman back, and you'll have a fired up and motivated Kyle Tucker. You'll have Jordan, you'll have Yuli, you'll have Michael Brantley, you have Altuve. Our lineup still is one of the most formidable, and I believe we're one of the favorites to go to the World Series again next year. But at the end of the day, where do the Astros go in free agency? Do they do like Mr. Corona saying, they don't really make any moves? Or do they go hard after some relief pitchers? And with there not being any talk, with there not being any moving, it seems, in the negotiations in the public realm, we don't know when this lockout's going to end. And so with that being said, what are these players doing? What is this front office doing, I should say? And what notes are they making, saying, okay, going forward, this is our plan? And your plan is always to get back to the World Series, obviously. But we've been to 3. We've only won 1. So we need to finish the job. The whole unfinished business thing, that needs to be the 2022 theme. That needs to be that. And so we just really need to see where the chips fall, how much room ball clubs have, and does Carlos Correa and does Jim Crane in the end get it done? Is that on your wish list for the Houston Astros? Do you want them to re-sign Correa? Um, if you don't re-sign Correa, do you want Jeremy Pena to be that guy? Or do you want another veteran? Because you don't want to depend on Diaz with his injury history. You don't want to depend on Diaz because of what he has gone through in his career. And that reminds me, if you don't know who to depend on or what to depend on when you're working out, why don't you grab a Built Bar? It's the best tasting protein bar in the land. It's wrapped in 100% chocolate. It tastes like a candy bar. That's right. It's high in protein. It's low in carbs, low in fat, low in sugar, and it's delicious and healthy. So many flavors. Cherry, double chocolate, cookies and cream, peanut butter brownie. This bar gives you extra fuel you'll need to bust down those mall doors and battle the holiday shoppers. If you're just standing in endless shopping lines, Built Bar can give you that extra something to keep you going. So throw on a jacket or a purse if you're in Texas. Put the shorts and the flip-flops on because it's 82 degrees. Get a Built Bar because they are the best tasting bar on the biz. Tell Santa to bring you a Built Bar box in your stocking, like a variety box or a mystery flavor box. So many options, so many flavors. When you go to built.com, use the promo code LOCKED15. That's 15% off your order. That's 15% off your first order with LOCKED15 at built.com. Built Bar, the best bar in the biz. So, I've got people sending me texts right now. Um, yeah, so I'm sitting here watching the Rockets. Someone's like, "Hey, are you watching the Rockets?" Yes, I'm actually watching the Rockets off in the distance while I'm doing the show. The Rockets are only down by 2. If you guys haven't been out to a Rockets game, the last 2 Rockets games I attended, Alex Bregman was sitting courtside and Lance McCullers was sitting courtside. What was interesting was I believe Alex was maybe celebrating their like wedding anniversary, so he's there with his wife. Lance McCullers was there with a friend. He signed like 4 baseballs, threw them into the crowd. That was pretty cool. So he is definitely a man of the people. So that was really really cool. But you know, the Houston Astros have their work cut out for them. I wonder what kind of PR nightmare or position it puts Jim Crane in if Carlos Correa does not come back. Or do you think, or do you as fans already have it set in your mind that Carlos Correa is gone? And this time, this lockout time, this lull, does that go in the favor of the Houston Astros to take away some of the sting to where if we didn't have a lockout and we were still actively talking and there were still stories being run every day and John Heyman saying this and Buster Olney saying that and this guy reporting this and Boob Nightingale and all these guys saying all these different things, like, does this work in the Astros PR favor? Okay. That's what I want to know. And also something interesting I noticed. I got really excited about it. The advertisement for FanFest. That's right. FanFest. They are advertising FanFest for the Astros. And I'm going to see if I can pull this up. And for those of y'all that are watching, and I'm going to see if I can show y'all this, if they even have it on their website. But they are advertising FanFest in January for you to come and hang out and meet not current players, but former players, and to meet current coaches on January 22nd. And what's funny is I'm looking on their website right now and I'm not seeing anything about it. Let's see. Where is this? Fans, see, Community Astros Foundation. I just think it's interesting that the Astros are going to have a fan fest, but there's not going to be any players. That's odd, but you know what we could do? We could make it just like a big hangout. If you're part of Astros Twitter, if you're of Locked On Nation, I'm trying to get a spot at FanFest. I'm not sure how successful I'll be, but if we are able to be out there, we'll let you know. I just think it's funny that they're offering FanFest with no current players. This is what I say. Do this. Bring Biggio, Bagwell, Clemens, Pettit, Adam Everett, Shane Reynolds, all the former Astros you can get, and just do free autographs. Just do free autographs. I mean, why not? Larry Durker, all the Hall of Famers, all the guys that are still around. Um, do do autographs. Let the people get autographs from their former heroes. Roy Oswald. Sorry, I had to take a drink there. Been a little under the weather lately, but do that. I mean, why not? And at the end of the day, the fans get to come hang out with players. They're not current players, but make it interactive. Have an extended BP session. Allow people on the field to take batting practice, not just season ticket holders, but everybody. Let people go into the bullpen, take pitches, not just season ticket holders. You know, if the Astros knew what was good for them, they would hire me as their PR guy, and I would get this fan fest. I'd get a ton of people there, even without Altuve and Urquidy and Alvarez and all these guys. So that's what I would like to see is if this fan fest is going to happen without players, they need to make it as interactive as possible. They need to make it something the fans can experience and enjoy. And so I can see that y'all are totally ignoring my and glazing over my fan fest conversation. I see how it goes here in the chat. Carlos Correa, I'm glad you have faith that Carlos Correa is coming back. I am losing faith by the day. I think he's dead set on this 10-year, super amazing AAV contract that I just don't know who's going to give it to him. And at the end of the day, it's going to be someone like the stinking Yankees or the MF and Dodgers. I mean, it's going to be one of those teams like that. So if Alex Bregman, let's do this. Let's shift off of the FanFest conversation and let's talk about betonline.ag because I want to know going into next season, what would be the odds? I have to look them up of someone like Alex Bregman having a comeback year and winning MVP. Well, BetOnline has you covered all season for more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football season continues to march to the playoffs. BetOnline remains the number one spot for all sports action this season. Head to our new updated desktop and mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use promo code Locked On to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. So, with that being said, the Rockets, they're down by 6 now. It's 88-82 New York Knicks. Something they do cool that I think the Astros should do whenever they start playing is they need to, I'll get your wish list here in a second. They need to have the remix nights like the Rockets do. They need to have a remix like 90s, 80s night on the regular. Like every Friday, they have the rainbow jerseys. Every Saturday, they have the late 90s jerseys. I mean, so on and so forth. So yeah, of course, Doug Fresh says you forgot Berkman, Moises Alou, Derek Bell, you jerk. Well, hey, I can't think of them all right now. Okay, I'm going solo. I'm flying by the seat of my pants tonight. So please, take it easy on me. Cooper Media says my wish list is that the MLB would release the Yankees cheating letter. That is something that baffles me, and there must be something pretty damning in that letter towards the Yankees organization that they have not had the cojones to release it. There has to be something in there because they would have already released it if there was nothing there. Someone's like, well, there's nothing there. Okay, then why haven't you released the freaking letter? Why has it sat in the court? And, at the end of the day, does it matter what's in that letter? No. Ask yourself this. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself this. Did the Yankees cheat in 2017? Yes or no? It's a very simple answer. Yes. Okay. Did Major League Baseball discipline them? No. Did the Astros cheat in 2017? Unequivocally, yes. Did the Astros get punished? Yes, they did. I'm so tired of hearing people say, well, the Astros didn't get punished. No, the individual players didn't get punished, but the organization very much did, where they lost their GM, their head coach 2 years worth of draft picks in the first and second round, a huge chunk of their draft picks. Now, they didn't take their international draft picks, which I thought was kind of funny. But yes, they in fact did get punished. And no, the reason the players didn't get punished, then you need to talk to the players that root for you, that are on the team you root for, because that union that represents them also represents the Astros. And the union would not allow the league to punish them. So they got the punishment that was available to them. They didn't set precedent because Rob Manfred couldn't, because he knew the players union wouldn't agree to do it. So at the end of the day, if the Astros don't lose their coach, if the Astros don't lose their GM, if the Astros don't lose those draft picks, I don't know if the draft picks play into it. I think the Astros easily go back and win another title. I think they go back in 18 and win with AJ Hinch. I'm sorry. Not, golly, I've been so out of it. I think the Astros are still in the mix. And I'm sorry, this last year, I think they win it. Anyways, golly, I have been under the weather. That's all I can say the last few days. Haven't been able to really do a whole lot. And so my mind is foggy at best right now. I'm going to have to cut that out of the audio. But I think if AJ Hinch isn't suspended and isn't taken from them and is still here, I think the World Series this year, yeah, they did cheat. Who's that? The Yankees? Yes, they did. The Yankees cheated. The Red Sox cheated. The Dodgers cheated more than likely. The Brewers did it as well. The Rangers. There's all these other teams that are implicated. The White Sox. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, basically, guys, it's a part of baseball. It doesn't make it right. It's just a part of baseball. That's all there is to it. And so at the end of the day, here is the deal. Here is the deal. The Houston Astros in 2022 have their work cut out for them. I'm going to wrap up here. They need relief pitching. They need Alex Bregman to have a comeback year. They need whoever they get to replace Carlos Correa to be solid. They either need to sign Trevor Story and he needs to excel expectations, or Jeremy Pena needs to be the guy. And Justin Verlander, who I haven't mentioned the whole show, needs to come out and have a very good year. Not a Cy Young year, but a very good year. And last thing, they need to trade Jake Odorizzi. That's right. Trade Jake Odorizzi, get some relief pitching arms, get some help in the bullpen. I'm Htown Wheelhouse. I'm out of steam. I'm out of time. It's been great hanging out with y'all. We'll get together next week again with Eric the Man Heisman, as we'll be back together, teaming up. Y'all have a good one. Y'all have a great weekend. And remember, as always, go Astros. Subscribe and make us your first listen every day.